Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and you're listening to episode 109 of the Boonie Breakdown Podcast, your source for all things responsible and ratchet. Happy Monday! Welcome to a new episode of the Boonie Breakdown. I'm excited. I think this episode this week is a little responsible. We've been ratchet for a few weeks. So we're going to tip back over to the responsible side. And I am joined this week with Tu-Shonda Whitaker. So you might hear that name and it's like, you know what? I remember her. She is award-winning Essence best-selling author. You remember when these books were popular? So like Flip Side of the Game, Game Over. I know I read those when I was in college, but we did not talk about her literary career. I actually had her on because she has another business called SweetNSaged, and we have a good conversation about all of the stuff you see on Instagram and memes, right? The moon, the stars, astrology, crystal healing, herbal baths, and all of that stuff. So we asked some really good questions. We also even talked about how this doesn't have to compete with those of you who are religious. You know, they're just tools to help you manifest. So stick around for that conversation. All right, pick of the week this week. This one's easy. I wanted to do a proper shout out to the Ratcheteers over in the UK. Now, I was doing a deep dive on my stats, and obviously, because I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, in America, that's my biggest country. There are listens around the world, but I never really look at the other countries like quantifying the numbers because it's like, it can't be that much, right? But I just assumed Canada would be the next highest because it's right here. No, the UK, the people over in the UK, shout out to y'all. I was actually pleasantly surprised by the numbers. So how dope would that be, really, to do Boonie Breakdown live in London? That's not happening this year. I don't even know if it'll happen next year, but it would be really dope to do. So I just wanted to shout you guys out. And I know sometimes I get stuck because you're just like in your lens. And so the show is it's not geographically based. Is that a word? But clearly the stuff is relating to the Ratcheteers over in the UK. So I just wanted to give you guys a big shout out, the pick of the week. Thank you for listening. Keep telling a friend, because if we get those listens up, I will come and do a live show in London. I would do it. That would be dope. So Boonie goes international. So shout out to the UK crew. So you guys know we always do the Ask Boonie segment whenever you guys send in a question. And if you would like your question to be featured, you can send an email to theboonieBreakdown.com@gmail.com. You can just type it out. If you want to make it interesting, you can do a voice memo. I love voice memos. It adds a different texture to the show. If you remember in episode 102, Mo Money, Mo Problems with KG, we had a good Ask Boonie question from For Love or Money. And pretty much the premise, if you haven't listened to that episode, the person wrote in asking, should they walk away from a multi-million-dollar business for love because they were in love with their business partner? Well, guys, I am happy to say that I have an update from For Love or Money. And I love people who send in the Ask Boonies and actually send the updates, it makes it so much better. So here's the update. Hey, Boonie, update from For Love or Money. So shortly after sending in the question, he and I had sex twice. It was okay, but there was something off. We maintained the business and friendship and just ignored that it had happened. Fast forward a little, I found out that the not so serious friend, in air quotes, is actually very serious. Naturally, I was pissed because I felt lied to, but he and I had our first real open and honest discussion about everything. After I found out, and now we couldn't be any closer. We want nothing but the best for one another. We are focusing on the business and remain close friends, and I'm working on developing a friendship with the girlfriend. I can definitely say that the business partner and I have an unbreakable bond, so I hope our romantic partners are good with it because I don't think they could feel the energy he and I give each other. But we are positive it is no longer romantic. Also, I've been seeing someone that I met at one of your Boonie Breakdown live shows, and the sex is some of the best, and best is capitalized, I've ever had. Plus, he's a great guy and a very genuine person. We'll see how that goes. So thanks, Boonie. Responsibly and ratchetly for love and money. Well, what a fucking update. I'm happy that they were able to work through the issues with their business partner and she didn't fuck up her coins, because I think that's what Kenny and I told her to do. Do not fuck up the coins. Keep making the money, but you just gonna have to address it so you guys can move forward. That does suck that he was lying about a girlfriend now, but I ain't gonna go there. Now, the part I am gonna go in on is I met someone at the Boonie Breakdown live shows. Now, here's the funny thing. I always try to get more guys to attend these shows. The crowd is overwhelmingly like all women, pretty much. But the size of the male attendees are growing with each show. This is like the third time I've gotten feedback from someone that they connected with someone at a show and they had bomb sex. Now, this is very, that is very responsible and ratchet. And I'm happy that I could be the platform to give some of you guys the connections to have the best sex of your lives. So, with that being said, early bird tickets for the Boonie Breakdown Live in Atlanta go off sale September 22nd. Well, no, 21st. So it's like 11:59 p.m. September 21st. So you have 2 weeks to get your early bird tickets. What does that mean? They're cheaper. That's literally what that means. I think there's 17 left for those early bird tickets. You can grab your tickets over at thebooniebreakdown.com/live. Yes, we'll be in Atlanta. I'm excited. We dropped on Instagram who the guests will be for the show. Podcast fave, the guy you love to hate, Brian, he is really a great friend, because when I said I was taking the show on the road, he didn't even let me even ask him. He's like, I'm coming. We're going to do this and I'm going to help you rock this shit out. So love Brian for that. And our other guest for the Boonie Breakdown Live in Atlanta is Arkita of Awkward Girl Podcast. You might also know her as It's Arkita on Instagram. She's a big style and beauty blogger, but her podcast, she talks about dating, sex, relationships. So I think we'll have a great conversation in Atlanta. So again, you have 2 more weeks to get the early bird tickets. Then the price goes up. We have our great sponsors, One Condoms. You guys get some great swag in your goodie bags. I'm the Magic Wand Fairy, so True Magic Wand has given me some magic wands to give out. We also have the delicious cookies of Robbie's Happy Place will be in your goodie bag, and a few other treats and giveaways for the show. So head on over, get those tickets, and I can't wait to see you guys in Atlanta. Feedback from episode 108. I think a lot of you were just as shocked at that Ask a Boonie question, the rich guy versus the nice guy. And I do hope that we get an update on that question as well. I'm going to read this one piece of feedback. Boonie, you were really harsh, but it was necessary. I hope sister listens to you. She is being treated like a hooker. I was just shocked to hear you say it. We give you the real here. So again, if you want your Ask a Boonie question featured, send it to theboonieBreakdown@gmail.com. Reviews. You guys are really killing it still with the reviews over on Apple Podcasts. I appreciate you. I know sometimes you can't listen at work or things are blocked at work. You can't have your phone out. But I just found out that the Boonie Breakdown is now available on iHeartRadio. So if you listen to iHeartRadio in the app, all you have to do is just type in the Boonie Breakdown, hit follow, and bam, there you are. You can listen to the Boonie Breakdown. All 109 episodes are there on iHeartRadio. Now, take out your phones. You're still not following. You're new. You're just listening to this episode for the first time. Please feel free to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, The Boonie Breakdown. You can follow us on Twitter, just Boonie Breakdown. And when sharing this episode on across social media, use the hashtag The Boonie Breakdown. You can tag us and use the hashtag PODIN, PODIN. So that's it for me, guys. So let's get ready to break it down. Hey Hey guys, it's your girl Boonie, and I'm excited about this interview because I always get a lot of questions about when I post that I use my crystals and I'm setting intentions, and I'm not the expert, so I always go find people who might know a little bit more than I do. So I want to welcome TuShonda of SweetNSaged to the Boonie Breakdown.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation.
Of course. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. I am hoping that the storms hold off so we can get through this with power
Right.
and internet.
Right.
So I just want to get started. And
Mhm.
if you could just share with us a story about how you got started with your business and what intrigued you about working with healing crystals and the spiritual protection space.
Well, for me, the funny thing is, I've been making bracelets. Oh God, maybe about like 5, 6 years, maybe a little longer than that. And I always purchased a stone, a gate. And I didn't
Mm,
realize at that time the healing properties of it. I just loved that particular stone. And so I always made everything with the gate. And then as time, then you know how business is, it goes up, it goes down. And then I stopped making it for a while. And then I started getting into crystals. My daughter was really into crystals first. And so I was like, oh, you know what? I really like that. This is really interesting. I've always been into healing. I'm a social worker by trade. So
okay.
I've always been into healing and how do we, become our best self and raising our elevation and stuff like that. So that's when I started to get more into the crystals and the different types of stones. And that's when I decided I would start doing the bracelets and different things again. And this
Gotcha.
time, instead of just doing a gate, I would do all different stones because we all have different needs.
We do. Okay, so you spoke about a gate. What is your favorite healing crystal and why?
My favorite is clear quartz because it's a great manifestation stone and it works with whatever crystal it is next to.
Hmm,
And I love
I
garnet because that's my birthday. That's my birthstone. And and it's great protection, the magic stone. But clear quartz is my favorite.
Gotcha. And I know somebody's probably listening to this like this is already too high level for them. Like
Yeah,
clear quartz, again, like what are you talking about?
right.
And so what exactly are healing crystals in your opinion?
In my opinion, they are of the earth and they are given particular powers
Mhm.
um, to help us heal. You know, God loves us so much that He does not contain, or spirit, does not contain the powers into one thing or building or a particular day. It's in everything really that is of the earth, and so you have different crystals that will help us in many different ways. And
Yes.
so, if you have anxiety, then you may, look towards some hematite. You want to do abundance, you may look at citrine, you may look at tiger eye. So there are different things, that different reasons, I should say, that you would seek the crystals out.
I know for me, like you share how you got into crystals.
Hmm.
It wasn't anything that I kind of researched myself. I kind of call her my oracle. But this girl, shout out to Kristen. I've known her since elementary school, but I haven't seen her in person in quite some time.
Hmm.
And I remember I was like going through something and she would just randomly like send me like messages through like social media apps and be like, she would know what I was going through, one, which was weird, and then she'd be like, "You need to get tiger's eye to ward off and get clarity on whatever," and I would be like, "Mhm, okay." So she kept doing it, and every time she did it, she kept telling me a different stone to get, a different crystal to get. So finally one day I was like, "All right, I don't know where I get this stuff," and so I found a store in Baltimore, go to the store, get it, and I think I started with like 3. I think it was like tiger's eye, rose quartz, and I can't remember the amethyst maybe.
Hmm.
And I was like, okay, this is what she told me to get. I don't know what I'm doing though. She
Right.
told me put
I'm
them in but I'ma just do it. And that's kind of how it started. And now I laugh because my little twin nephews, they call them my rocks because they'll
Mhm.
come over and they done took some of my rocks though. But they call them my rocks. And if you were advising someone,
Mhm.
what would be the crystals you would tell someone to get to kind of start their crystal starter pack?
I would say rose quartz for love, and rose quartz is like the master of love,
Mm-hmm.
including self love, not just romantic love. Um, citrine for abundance,
Mm-hmm.
and also citrine is like happiness and that kind of stuff. You know, like yellow stones, you think of like happiness and joy. Clear quartz, absolutely, everybody should have clear quartz, and amethyst. Because amethyst
Okay.
is like the master healer. Like anything that you can think of, amethyst typically will help you with it. And for protection, I would say black tourmaline.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite stone that I own, just because it's so pretty.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's a
And black
gorgeous stone.
obsidian is nice too. It reminds you of it, but it has like a little more sparkle to it. But it's pretty.
Yeah, I think yeah, I would agree with most of those. I think those, like I said, those were like two of the ones you mentioned
Hmm.
were in my little three little stone. Um I have an affinity when you mentioned earlier how you were just drawn to the one stone. For me,
Yeah.
that stone is always Moonstone.
Oh, moonstone is beautiful.
So I'm always it's um another brand that I like their bracelets too. And every time I see her at an event, I'll pick it up, and it's it's 9 times out of 10 it's a moonstone, some version of a moonstone. And she's like, "You always picking that up?" I was like, "It's just the
It's
one I'm
even
drawn
here
to."
that for you. Yeah, carnelian is really nice. If you like moonstone, you should check out carnelian.
I definitely have one of those too.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, I'm like my little rock collection has grown.
Right. So
Um, I feel like once you start, then I had to stop for a second because I was like, I can't be out here spending up
Oh yes, that.
because like you
Mhm.
want the prettier, bigger ones, like the ones
You
that you want
would,
in your
but
house.
it's like
They're
bargain.
expensive.
It's like
Yeah,
you go in there for one thing and you have given these people your whole paycheck.
yeah, and some of them like it was oh, what's the lady I follow? Heather Askanowski. She
Okay.
does Energy Muse,
Mhm.
and she's been doing crystals like she kind of reminds you like the hippie, earthy type.
Okay. Yeah.
But she's been into it for like 30 years.
Oh wow.
And so when she goes into like she does things in her house and she'll have these like 5 foot uh pieces of rose quartz
Oh
or whatever. And she's got to the point where she's like took the crystals from just like using them in rituals or manifestation or
wow.
intention setting, and they're just in her house as decor. And so she has talked about like how you can like incorporate them, like if you put them on your dining room table, this is what you
Mhm.
should put here, this is what you should put by your front door. And so when she shows her house, I'm like, oh my god. So I clicked the link for like the amethyst she had in her living or in her bedroom.
Uh-huh.
It was $750.
Woo. Mm.
It was gorgeous, but it was $750.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm not there. Let me
Yeah.
get my $6."
I'm not quite there either.
Yeah, but I mean, it was absolutely gorgeous. But whew,
I bet.
so I just mentioned like intention setting with your crystals.
Mhm.
How how when you do your intention setting, you're supposed to charge up your crystal.
Mhm.
How does one charge a crystal?
Well, you can charge a crystal under the moonlight. You can put it in your windowsill, and you can charge it that way. You can charge it with other crystals, with clear quartz and selenite. Is a great,
Mhm.
great stone that helps charge your crystals. You can charge it in the sun. You can dig a hole in the ground. You can put it in there, and take it out of there. You got to be careful with water because some
Mhm.
crystals will dissolve in water. Like selenite, forget about it; it's gone. You could charge it with the moon cycles.
Yes, that's really popular. Like, especially on Instagram, everyone's sharing, "Oh, it's the full moon, the Capricorn moon,
Right.
this." So you're like, if you're sitting here like, I don't know
Right.
what the moon cycles are, just follow something on Instagram.
Sometimes that's me. I'm like, wait a minute, is that what's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not there. Like, I only know that stuff when I see it. Like, oh yeah, there's a full moon. That
Hmm.
explains some things. But yeah, I've also too have kind of bathe my crystals, and we'll get into this in a little bit, but like in smoke. So
Yeah.
I'll
Oh, yeah, we do
use
that.
sage or whatever sometimes. But yeah, definitely. I think I ordered this big a charging plate,
Hmm.
and I'm trying to think what crystal it's made out of. So I'll sit them on that sometimes
Okay.
to help cleanse as well.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
And then
and sometimes you can visualize a white light or a bright light and clean it that way too, just with visualization.
mm, and do you find that when you're doing your intention setting, does it depend on what you're trying to manifest? Does your ritual change or whatever you do when you set your intention with your stones?
Um, Sometimes it changes. It depends on what I want. I work a lot with candles. So
Okay.
I'll do like, candles and stones together. So it depends. Sometimes I'll write a petition and place the stones on top of the petition alongside the candle. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just, I'll just pray. So it all depends. Like I don't have like one set thing that I'll do. Okay, let me take my clear quartz and I do this with that. I go by how I feel.
Okay.
What works best for me.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes intimidating, and people feel like, oh, like I need to get this, like kind of like a witchcraft book, and I need a ritual book, and
No.
all these special things to do with certain things. But it really is
Well,
you
it's nice
setting.
to read that kind of stuff just for the education of it. But if you get too hung up in that, you'll be like, you know what, forget it. I'm getting ready to watch
You'll never do it.
TV. Uh-uh.
You'll never do it.
No. And you have to do things that move you and what you feel helps you and heals you. Because what may work for me, it just may not move you. So,
And that's facts.
if you feel like writing yourself a letter and, like, I'm not going to be in debt anymore, I'm going to do away with this mindset of lack and that kind of stuff, and you want to write yourself a letter and you want to go somewhere and you want to bury it in the ground, that's cool. I like that. Somebody else might be like, well, what exactly are you doing here? You just in the
Hmm.
ground? Like, you know.
Yeah,
So you have to go with what moves you as well.
I
That's
like
what I
that.
always tell people. Yeah.
So you mentioned you work with candles, in what capacity?
I do like abundance candles. I do. They call them dress candles or fixed candles, which
Hmm.
are dressed for certain intentions. So you may have an abundance, like I named, a love candle, success candle. There's some more intense candles that people like sometimes. Like a shut up candle. Yeah, sometimes you gotta go sit people down and that kind of stuff. So it all depends, but it's similar to the crystal in terms of having an intention. Everything is about intention and thought.
Yeah.
So when you get into this stuff, like you can't just be willy nilly. That's why they say, you always watch what you say. Power of life and death is in the tongue. So you give, you know, the intention to whatever it is you're doing. Because
I know
really
that's
the
right.
magic is within you. You are the magic, whatever it may be. It's you.
It is you. And I think that's what people kind of get hung up on and like, oh, it doesn't work. And I just think like a lot of things in life, the crystals, the candles, whatever your rituals, they're all just tools for you to believe. If it takes you
Right.
holding a piece of rose quartz in your hand and writing in your journal about the love that you want,
Right.
and that's what it takes for you to believe in and take action and set intention, then do it.
Right, exactly,
And
exactly,
and I think
right.
whatever it is that helps you move to the next level, because like I said, like I just believe these things are tools. When I'm serious about it, and one of my friends, she always says, like, Adrian, I've never seen anyone be able to manifest things the way you do.
Mhm.
She's like, when you say, this is what I want, this is what I'm gonna do, it happens.
Yeah.
And I believe that's when I'm usually in tuned into a practice.
Mhm.
And I'm just not haphazardly out here doing anything, but it
Right.
just helps me because it's like I set that intention and now I know this is what I want.
Yep.
And I just feel like the behavior changes with the intention.
Right. Absolutely. Because what you're saying, even when you do the candles, you're just asking this object to express itself to the world. But
Mhm.
you're bringing the magic. So you're saying, okay, I want to take my magic and I just want this candle to represent a part of it for me. And it's
Yes.
really about just, like you said, intention and meditation and belief, because
Yeah.
your life reflects your thoughts. You can say all this good stuff that you want, but if you don't believe it, it's going to be one
Yep.
hot hell of a mess for you.
It's true though. It really is true. And so
Mhm.
I mean we've both mentioned it and I know it's always I didn't want to go here yet, but it just seems the perfect segue. Whenever you bring up the practice of spiritual protection or healing with crystals and manifestation with candles and all these things, that the next, thing obviously always is, well, is this go against my, if you have a Christian belief or believe in some type of faith,
Mhm.
can you do both? Is practicing this in violation of being a true Christian?
I don't believe so. Religion is a set of rules that tells you how to worship. Period. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it wrong. It just is. It's how you worship in a religion. How you may worship as a Muslim, you don't worship as Christian. Just
Mhm.
um, spirituality is about relationship with the spirit, with God, with the universe. So I don't know how one can go against the other. It again, it goes back to your comfort level. I love Jesus. I would be uncomfortable with anything that told me not to. Now, do I have some other thoughts? Do I know some history and that kind of good stuff? Yes, absolutely. You know, but I'm not at that particular point where I just want to dismiss the things that I have grown up with. But I
Yeah.
am open enough to accept other things.
Yeah, totally for me too. Like I I still believe in God, but I'm also the person who oftentimes interchanges universe and God, right? So I'd be like, "Ooh, the universe did that."
Right.
Doesn't mean I don't believe in God, but for me, it's just they're the same. So,
Right.
like if God created the universe, like so to me, there is no difference. So, I don't personally believe that this is an any violation of whatever faith that I've grown up with. I believe they can coexist together.
Absolutely. I mean, we are. I was watching a KRS One YouTube video one time, and I taught it to my son. And so, what he said was that if you close your eyes and you say to yourself the word rock star, he was just tossing that word, and he said that is your spirit. That's the part
Mm,
you get to.
yeah,
And it just really touched me. But that is what, even in religion, what we are celebrating, what we are, trying to understand. It's about your relationship with the spirit. The spirit is God, and we
yeah.
are having a human experience. The body needs the spirit to survive, but the spirit does not need the body.
Mm, there you go.
So,
So yeah, I feel like you can make the bounds what you feel comfortable with. If
right.
you feel like it's not it is, then don't pick
You
up a
know,
crystal. Like I
right,
mean, I
absolutely.
think it's very simple to do these things without looking down on others who choose
To do
to
something
do some
different. But then you gotta know
exactly.
what you're doing too, because people will say, "Oh, I don't believe in candle magic," but they get a birthday cake and they put candles up there and they're saying, "Make a wish." Well, what's happening? What are you doing? And or they'll say, "Oh, I don't need no oil and all of this stuff," but then they want to go get blessing oil,
Yeah.
right?
Isn't it the same thing? Yeah. Like and so
Right,
it really is funny how it's tomato tomato, right?
right, exactly. So it's like that's cool, but understand what it is that you're doing.
Yeah. And I think too that's another thing with I think very popular it's become now the act of smudging, cleansing your energy. A lot of people smudge their homes to cleanse the energy in their homes.
Right.
And can you explain for people exactly what that means to smudge?
It's to clean and clear out the negative energy in your home or in your on your person or your workspace and just sometimes we pick up negative, not really sometimes, really all the time, we'll pick up certain things from the outside and we bring them into our home, or there are things that existed in our place of work or in our house before we even got there and that kind of stuff, or people come into your space with their drama
Mhm.
and they leave it at your door, and now you just like, what? Why am I going through all of these damn changes? Because so and so was up in your house with all their issues
Yep.
and they left you a gift. That's why you can't bring everybody into your place. Some people got to stand outside. So,
I remember this on an old Oprah episode.
uh-huh,
God, that'd be decades ago now. But she said it was this lady on there, and she was like, when people entered her house, she always told them take responsibility for the energy that you bring into
right.
this home.
Absolutely.
And I was like, oh, I love that. So I
Yeah.
always remembered that.
Yeah. You are
And
responsible for the energy you bring into the room. How you ever saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and so I do smudge not as often as I would like to,
Hmm.
but and it was funny because it's a meme going around on the internet, and it was like all of y'all fools smudging with the doors and windows closed, and the demons just running around in your house.
You around. Ain't nobody open the front door. No, I done burned the sage, but I can't sleep.
Yeah, that had me dying. It was like the demons just running around in your house. So
Look,
yes, when you're
sometimes,
using sage, you should have a
right.
window open, a door open.
Sometimes you got to sage yourself, but sometimes
Yes.
it's you.
I remember what before I started on and trying to like clean up credit and get my money life together,
Hmm.
somebody was like, "Sage your wallet and your purse."
Listen,
And I was like that, and I did it. I was like, "That's the smartest thing somebody ever told me to do."
your purse is one big mojo bag, okay?
Yep. There's a sage your
Yes,
wallet and your purse. And
absolutely.
so for when you sage and smudge, do you use white sage or blue sage?
It depends. Sometimes I'll use, if I'm doing like a real heavy duty kind of cleaning, I'll do the white sage. If
Okay.
the energy feels really heavy to me, then I'll do the white sage. And you always, um, for me, this is how I do it. Everybody does it differently, but I start from the furthest part of my house, walking backwards, crisscrossing across the room, and the doorways,
Mhm.
and definitely the corners, all the way to the front door, and open the front door and step out and turn around backwards and come in. That's just what I do.
Okay.
If I feel like I want to, sage and bring some abundance and different things into my space, I might feel like that's missing, then I'll do the blue sage.
Mhm.
And if I'm getting ready to work on a book or something creative, then a lot of times I'll use the Palo Santo sticks.
Got yeah.
Yeah. Now,
So
there are different things that people use other than just that, but those are the main three for me.
Yeah, so when I smudge, I do the same thing. I usually start at my back basement door,
Uh-huh.
and I literally trace every door, every window, every corner,
Yep.
and depending on the room I'm in, um, it's a different intention I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I always end at the front door to let it all go out.
Hmm.
Go out
Absolutely.
the so yeah, that's but I always trace every door, every
The
window,
corner.
and in the corners.
Mhm.
And too, sometimes I will say I like the smell of Palo Santo better. But um I
Yeah,
don't, because I also was like, I don't, sometimes you can get fake Palo Santo, so you have to be careful of
careful with
that,
that, right?
especially on Amazon. Like a lot of those things that you
Yeah,
buy in those big plastic bags on Amazon, they're probably fake Palo Santo.
right.
But I left because too my cleaning lady came and I had like a piece of a Palo Santo stick
Mhm.
sitting with my crystals in the windowsill, and she threw it away. I guess she thought it was trash.
Guess she said, "This is burnt up. Let me just."
Yeah, she was like, "Let me just toss this." So that was funny. But yeah, I know like a lot of this one girl I know, she uses blue sage all the time because she's always, if she wants a healing or a blessing.
Mhm.
So she always burns her blue sage, and like you said, white sage is the for cleansing.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people like they burn all types of things, frankincense,
Mhm.
lavender.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you don't have to stick with the sages, but those are
Right, and
the
incense.
easy. I also burn a lot of incense.
Me too.
So
Mhm.
I have my blessing, my fortune,
Right.
positive vibes. So I have all those incenses as well.
Yeah, I love the incense. I like to burn frankincense and myrrh.
Ah, you like the three wise kings.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
the one thing I know that you also do that is something I've never done. I don't know if I ever will do, but I've
Right.
seen people do it, and the pictures look really pretty when they post it on Instagram.
Mhm.
The spiritual bathing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. Tell me more.
Well, it's about cleaning your space, which is your person. And, you know, there are different things that you may want to bring into your life, or you may want to clean off of yourself. And you take a bath for that particular reason. You may take a love bath, and that'll have different herbs in it, or an abundance bath. If you want more abundance, you may take an aura cleansing bath
Mm.
to just cleanse your aura. Just it's different things, anxiety, you suffer from a lot of anxiety, you want to align your chakras, things like that. That's the purpose of it, is to get you in alignment.
So what do you use? Like, how do you prep for a spiritual bath?
Well, I always say, some people say, do I have to be in a bathtub? Because not everybody's into bathtubs, not everybody has bathtub. And I'll say, no, you can shower, because, the biggest part about it is about intention. It's
Mm.
about your prayer and your meditation. So I say you always pray, you always set your intentions first. And then when you get into the bath with your herbs or your flowers or whatever it is that you use, then you pray and meditate on what your intentions are. Now, don't hit the spirit with 50 different things like, I want my $25,000 in my bank account. I want Raheem. Okay. Because it's after a while, it'll be like, all right, so what do you want? What you really want is some clarity.
Yeah.
So you got to know what it is that you want. And if you don't know, then you want clarity. Because some people say, well, I don't know what I want. Okay. That means you need clarity.
Got it. So what to do a bath or a spiritual cleanse in that manner,
Mhm.
what would you advise, what would people need to do that?
It depends on what you want it for. You can get you some herbs, because herbs are for different reasons. You might do roses. Roses are good for like attraction, love, of course. You might get you some hibiscus. I hope I'm saying it right. Flowers for like passion. You ready to get your groove on. You tired. So you might do some of that kind of good stuff. It depends on what it is that you want to do, but you can do flowers, you can do herbs, you can even do bath salts. And then in some of the botanicas, they have the liquid.
Mm.
So it's your comfort level on what it is that you want. It's not like one set way. Like you got to have sunflowers and roses and all of that stuff. No, you don't have to have that.
Yeah, because I always feel like when you see the pictures, like, Instagram is the Holy Grail these days.
Mhm.
So you see these pictures posted, people it's 9,000 candles
Yeah,
and the water looks like milk
right.
and it's lemons floating and
Mhm.
yellow
Well, you're like,
flowers.
is that Jesus? I think I see Jesus in this picture. How about that?
It's it's
Like,
always so much. And my one thought, because I'm crazy, it's always like, who the fuck is cleaning that tub like?
girl, listen. When you get out that tub, all of that stuff is in there. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, that is always my number one thought is you literally have flowers and herbs and milk and lemons.
Right. And I don't like the candles around my bathtub because I start thinking stuff like, "Oh, this shit is gonna fall in the tub."
Yeah,
I
because
don't
people
want
have
this to
they'll
happen.
have the candles, they have the incense, they have the stones, and I just always laugh, like, they make for pretty pictures,
Yes.
but I'm
Yeah,
just
they do.
always like, "Woo, that's a lot of work."
Yeah, but some people like it, and if they like it, and if that's what gets you in alignment, and that makes you feel good, then do it. Then do it. But if it's too much, like it is for me, then less is more.
Less is more. Um, so for your sweet and sage,
Mhm.
when you are selling, your baths and your candles, do you also give out like rituals and intentions, affirmations with your products?
What I do is I give letters with all of the products. Like when you buy a candle, then I give you a letter about what type of candle it is and the particular day that I would recommend you lighting it on. Although you can light it on any day that you want, I just recommend a particular day for the candles. For the crystals, I always give you a letter with what the crystal is and what it means.
Got it.
So that way people have something to refer to. When they
Got
have it, they'll know.
when they know.
Yep.
Um, and I guess the last question.
Go ahead.
So how do you I'm trying to think how I want to phrase this. So when people who are new to this
Mhm.
this whole space,
Right.
would you think it is easier or less intimidating to start with crystals over the candles, or what would you advise?
I would say, if you've never ever done any of this before, start with the crystals because it's not as intimidating as the candles can be. Now, not all of the candles are intimidating. Who doesn't want a little love and some more money? But they are a lot more involved than that. So I would just say, start simple. Start with the crystals. So get you a nice crystal bracelet or spiritual bath, something like that, and then move on to the candles.
Yeah, I definitely think it's levels.
Mhm.
So I mean
Absolutely,
that's
that's the perfect way to put it.
yeah, that's definitely where I started. Like I
Mhm.
started with candles and have kind of progressed up. But I know it's so funny because I have certain people around me, like I mentioned the girl earlier, I call my oracle, like she still always be telling me, do blah 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 blah. And it's funny because I think she kind of knows that I started actually listening to her with the stones.
Mhm.
And so now she's kind of progressed a little further, like, all right, do this. Cause I'm like, she
Uh-huh.
be knowing. She be knowing. But
So you gotta listen to those people. It's like, okay.
and I think too, that's the other thing too, 'cause I think some people get so caught up in
Mhm.
just wanting whatever it is they want to know or to get to the end point, that sometimes you listen to the wrong people. And I always say, like, listen to your gut.
Right. That's
You'll know who to trust. Because I actually had an encounter one time. This is so weird. We were on a trip. I want to say it was in Dubai.
mm-hmm.
And it wasn't my friend, but she was like a friend of a friend. And she was just doing these weird things. Like, we would just be sitting there
Mm-hmm.
talking. And then, like, out of nowhere, she'd be like, the spirit said you're going to marry this boy. The spirit said you should do this. The spirit said, like, and she would just ramble off. And then she would just be like, the spirit is done. And then just like keep
Oh,
talking.
okay.
And I'm just like,
Well, what did anything that she say come to fruition or?
absolutely not. And but it was just like I've always had like a good level of discernment.
Right.
So it just didn't feel, I don't know, I just didn't feel it from her. So
Oh,
I just let her do what she was doing, but I didn't receive
so
it.
she's just Miss Cleo on steroids.
Yeah, it just was really, it just didn't move me. And so, because I'm not going to say it's weird because it might have moved somebody else, but it just
Right.
didn't move me. So I was just like, I'll let her do what she's doing, but she ain't talking to me.
Yeah, because you can't let everybody speak over you. That's the thing, you know. I'm always one of those that if somebody says something that I don't care for, I will quickly be like, I reject that. That doesn't belong to me. That's your
Yeah. It was just, I could just immediately tell, like,
right.
she ain't talking about me.
Right, exactly. That ain't for me. Mm-mm.
So, can you tell everyone where they can find you on the internet and social media?
Yes. My website, which I'm working on right now, I just, I should probably know my lane, but I'm trying to get this together myself.
You can do it.
I'm going to do it. It is sweet in the letter N, saged, SAGED.com, or on Instagram, sweet in sage at Instagram, or however it is they do it.
Yeah, the ad. All right. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on. This is
Thank
great.
you. I appreciate
Yeah.
it. I had a great time.
Awesome. And I'll be sure to link the website and social media in the show notes. And we always wrap up the interviews on the podcast. So we do this thing called the breakdown.
Okay.
So I'm going to say one word, and you just say the first thing that comes to mind.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. Uh-oh.
Spirit,
God.
sage.
Cleansing.
Oh, that was going to be my next word. Energy,
Alignment.
protection,
Space.
sex.
It should be good, girl.
It should be. Clear quartz,
Manifestation.
moon.
Makes people act odd sometimes. It's supposed to be one word, right? I'm giving you a whole phrase.
It's fine. A phrase will do. And the last thing. Oh, you already said that one. I gotta come up with one more real quick. Healing.
Important.
Perfect. So, again, thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
on the Boonie Breakdown.
Thank
This was great.
you. I appreciate you having me.
Of course.
All right. Take care.
Thanks to my guest TuShonda of SweetNSaged for coming on and having an awesome conversation about crystals, healing baths, and rituals. And like I said in the intro, I might have to have her come back on and chat about her literary career. But if you enjoyed this episode, I encourage you to listen and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, and iHeartRadio, or any app that you listen to your favorite podcast on. Don't forget to leave a review too. You might just hear your review on the next episode. Follow us on social media. Share the episode with those you love, those you don't love, those you fucking hate. And don't make these pretty images for nothing, okay? Have a dope ass week. Thank you for listening. And remember, the ratchet in me always honors the ratchet in you. Until next time.